If you dig the twisted, admire the outlandish, and are enamored by the unusual, you're in the right place. True crime, the supernatural, the unexplained, now you're speaking our language. If you agree, join us as we dive into the darker side. You know, because it's more fun over here. Welcome to Total Conundrum.
Warning, some listeners may find the following content disturbing. Listener discretion is advised. Ha 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 ha.
Hey there, fellow mystery enthusiasts. We're back with another fascinating episode of Total Conundrum. I'm Jeremy, and as always, I'm joined with my partner in all things mysterious and unexplained, the one, the only, Traci.
Hey everyone, it's fantastic to be here once again, digging into the mysterious stories that keep us all on the edge of our seats.
Absolutely, Traci, and today we're diving headfirst into a pair of tales that will send chills down your spine.
Ooh.
I'll be your guide into Skinwalker Ranch, where the lines between reality and the supernatural blur in truly mind-bending ways.
And I'll be leading you through the tangled woods of Minnesota's cryptid mysteries, from the legendary lake creatures to the elusive forest dwellers. These stories will make you rethink every rustle in the leaves.
So whether you're snuggled up on the couch, braving the daily commute, or just looking for a dose of intrigue, we've got you covered. Get ready to embark on a journey into the unknown as we explore the eerie world of Skinwalker Ranch and uncover the secrets of Minnesota's cryptids.
It's time to unravel the threads of the bizarre and shine a light on the shadows of the uncharted. So, grab your favorite beverage, get cozy, and join us as we dive into the mysteries of Skinwalker Ranch and Minnesota cryptids. This is going to be a ride you won't want to miss.
That's right, Traci. So without further ado, let's kick off this episode and let the mysteries unfold.
Buckle up, listeners. We're about to journey into the realms where the ordinary takes a backseat to the extraordinary. Let's dive in and see what awaits us in the world of the unexplained. Ooh.
Starting out, we're going to talk about the Skinwalker Ranch.
I'm very excited about this one.
I think it's going to be pretty good. So, the myth of the Skinwalkers is a Native American legend. In the Navajo language, Yi-na-glushi translates to by means of it goes on all fours.
Is that the Native American word?
Yeah.
Okay.
According to the Navajo people, skinwalkers are witches that can transform into a variety of animals. There are also several different types of skinwalkers. These differ in the Navajo culture compared to healers or medicine men. Medicine men are considered good practitioners of magic, whereas skinwalkers are considered witches and evil. Skinwalkers practice dark magic and are considered corrupt, according to the Navajo people. Skinwalkers can not only turn into various animals, but they can also control other animals and even people. Some
Mind control or?
mind control, yeah.
Spooky.
Cool, huh?
It's kind of scary.
Some skinwalkers can take the shape of many different types of animals. To name a few are wolves, coyotes, and bears. Skinwalkers are supremely powerful creatures and are said to be near impossible to kill. According to lore, a bullet or a knife rubbed with white ash may just do the trick.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. Huh?
That is.
Skinwalkers have also been called shapeshifters by some of the Native American tribes of the southwestern United States. While the origins of Skinwalker legend are unclear, many scholars believe that these stories date back hundreds, if not thousands of years.
Jeez.
Yeah. Skinwalkers are often described as having glowing eyes.
That's spooky.
That's spooky. Matted fur.
Kind of like mange almost.
Yeah. And a twisted, hunched-over appearance.
Ooh.
They are believed to possess incredible speed and strength, highly intelligent, and cunning.
So you're not going to be running and hiding from these.
No, because they're going to find you and they're going to catch you. Yep. Using their abilities to terrorize their victim. Skinwalkers, or shapeshifters, Theories suggest that they might have originated in European folklore, where shapeshifters were often depicted as witches or other supernatural creatures. However, many other creatures have their folklore about shapeshifting creatures. Europe also believes in werewolves, which are depicted as humans turning into wolves during a full moon. African culture concept of the were hyena, where they transform it into hyenas and prey on humans.
Oh, and then that laugh.
Yeah, that menacing laugh.
Yes, that would be enough to probably give me a heart attack. I'd just die on the spot. Or I could become a fainting goat, just boop.
Or just going to Greenwood Cemetery almost gave you a heart attack.
I did okay. I stayed, didn't I? I stayed pretty calm.
You stayed pretty calm.
We
but
had-
your face, you could see your fear in that camera.
What are you talking about? There's no camera footage.
Also, Japanese mythology has Kitsune, a fox spirit, which is believed to transform into a human form and cause mischief.
Fox are cute.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
But
be
not
as
one
scared
that
of that.
transforms from a fox to a human.
Not so cute, but
Not so cute.
it just makes me think of the show Supernatural when they talk about the skinwalkers and stuff or shapeshifters. It's like I picture somebody like being able to change into like they touch you and they would change into you and then they shed that skin and
Oh, yeah.
but this is more like Vampire Diaries type stuff where they're changing into werewolves and
Yeah. Yeah, and you also had that supernatural episode of Skinwalkers where it was more like a gray,
like alien type.
alien-looking dude.
Yeah. And some people, I guess, do talk about, like, when I first heard about this, I thought it was more like they were talking about aliens impersonating us. I didn't realize there was so much Navajo influence on, which it makes sense because that's totally, Native American country out there. So.
Oh, yeah. Almost every culture has a myth of shapeshifters. So let's explore the Skinwalker Ranch's history and mysticism. The original owners of the property were Kenneth and Edith Meyer. They lived and worked the ranch for almost 60 years. Kenneth died in 1987 at the age of 86, while Edith remained living on the property until 1992, when she was taken to a rest home in Roosevelt.
Is the Mandela effect going to change them from Meyer to Mayer too?
Probably.
Jesus Christ. They don't just leave anything alone.
Different spelling. though. The ranch was vacant for almost 2 years until she died in 1994. Over the course of those 2 years, the land was leased to other ranchers and basically left vacant. 3 months after Edith's passing, Garth Meyer, the executor of the Meyer estate, sold the property to the Sherman family. Terry and Gwen Sherman owned the ranch from 1994 to 1996. In the 2 years that they lived there, they claimed that they had issues with cattle mutilation. After stories of cattle mutilation, a local UFO researcher came to the Skinwalker Ranch and says he witnessed some of the cattle mutilation and other phenomena. During this time, there were multiple articles written in the Desert News about the rumored sightings of UFOs. After hearing the stories surrounding the ranch, Robert Bigelow purchased the ranch in 1996 and owned it through 2016. Robert Bigelow is a businessman and owned Budget Suites of America and is the founder of Bigelow Aerospace. Bigelow has provided financial support for investigations in the UFOs and parapsychological topics. Bigelow started a study into anecdotal sightings of UFOs. In 2005, a book was published called The Hunt for the Skinwalker, written by Colm Kelleher and George Knapp. From the research of Robert Bigelow's investigations, the Defense Intelligence Agency read the book and got permission to visit the ranch. A UFO experiencer agreed that the ranch deserved attention and inserted a line into the Department of Defense budget appropriating a $22 million study into unidentified aerial phenomena.
Wow. Every time you say Bigelow,
Yeah.
I keep thinking of Deuce Bigelow, male gigolo.
Deuce Bigelow, male gigolo.
I just, every time it plays in my head.
That's probably how he saw himself.
Well, I'm totally sure. Absolutely. Why not?
So in 2023, an article in the Journal of Scientific Exploration criticized the $22 million research program led by James Latsky. He lacked any evidence from the ranch after many decades of exploration and characterized Skinwalker as always in the business of setting belief and hope. The ranch was then purchased in 2016 by Brandon Fugel, Adamantium Real Estate, LLC. After purchasing the property, all roads led to the ranch were closed off to the public. The perimeter was guarded by cameras and barbed wire, and signs were posted that aimed to prevent people from approaching the ranch.
Well, he's not very friendly, is he?
No, he wants to keep this stuff top secret.
Top secret, like Area 51.
Oh, yeah, totally. So on February 15th, 2017, Adamantium filed a trademark application for the service mark of Skinwalker Ranch, which was approved on April 14th, 2020, with the mark applicable to providing recreation facilities, entertainment services, namely creation, development, production, and distribution of multimedia content, including internet content, motion pictures, and television shows. Additional trademark filing to expand use to cups and mugs, shirts and sports caps, and hats was approved on July 12, 2022.
Well, he just wanted to monopolize all that shit right out of the gate, huh?
Yeah. I mean, basically, the second that he purchased the property,
He wanted all rights for any kind of merch.
he had intent. You know,
Oh,
he
definitely.
wanted to market the hell out of this property
Yeah.
and make it into a TV show.
Oh.
Yeah.
And they did. How many seasons so far?
3.
3.
Good thing they're only interested in solving the mysteries of the Skinwalker Ranch.
Not getting any lucrative benefit from it at all.
No, otherwise people would assume it's a business venture.
No, that couldn't be it.
How to make a desert land more valuable, turn it into a movie or TV show.
Yeah.
Eventually turning it into a theme park of UFOs on wires and park employees dressed in wolf costumes.
I'd go.
I'd go too, but look at the documentary, The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, with lead scientist Dr. Travis S. Taylor and his team of scientists. First thing you see after the title screen is Skinwalker Ranch has been the center of UFO and paranormal activity for 200 years.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. And never has Skinwalker Ranch allowed cameras to film. So remember that, folks. 200 years and never allowing a camera. Season 1, Episode 1 starts with the scene of Dr. Travis Taylor running out to a field and a group of others are standing around a dead cow. They look the scene over and can't find any visible tracks or signs of a struggle. He tells the others, don't touch the cow in case it's radioactive. One of the other crew members tells Travis that they had turned the cow over to see if there were any visible markings on the other side of the cow.
So they didn't listen to him.
Didn't listen to him. Well, they did that before he actually showed up. But yeah, they pull out Geiger counters to get a sign of any radioactive reading. Travis tells the others to look at the counter, and the readings are going all over the place. A lot of the activity is centered around the old homesteads on the property. Over 100-year-old structures, the activity is a full gamut of paranormal phenomena.
Dun, 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 dun. Phenomena.
Dr. Travis says to the pilot, hopefully I don't leave here more perplexed than when I came in. Compact light pillars, beams of light shining above the mesa, another sighting of a lighted object flying over the mesa. There is no flight information on that day of any aircraft in the area, no commercial or private aircraft. Ooh.
That's spooky.
The helicopter will not fly over the mesa due to the potential electromagnetic phenomena. Phenomena.
Phenomena. Phenomena. You're welcome, people.
Bryant Dragon Arnold, head of security, and security guard Caleb Bench. Dragon says the reason they take security so seriously is because they need to protect the scientific integrity of the data and the people who live on the property. These guys are all decked out in black, and Caleb is carrying a 12-gauge shotgun with 9mm on his side. Then you have Dragon carrying an M16 with an extended clip with a 9mm on his side.
Are these for protection of people coming in or protection from what they encounter on Skinwalker?
I think they're preparing for this zombie apocalypse.
Holy guacamole.
Yeah. More surveillance than the Pentagon, barbed wire fencing surrounding the entire property, gates at the entrances, along with concrete barricades. They have the place locked down like Fort Knox.
I'm picturing like razor wire, like a prison yard and guard towers. And
I think they left out the razor wire at the top of the barbed wire because it kind of looks like almost like an electrode fence at the top.
Oh.
But I don't know. It doesn't say that, so I'm just speculating.
Totally.
Now we get a tour of the control room, a.k.a. the nerve center, a.k.a. the inner sanctum. Looks like a mini NASA control room. This is where they monitor any and all activity at the Skinwalker Ranch. Thermographic equipment, night vision equipment, temperature and geomagnetic readout equipment, and a piece of equipment called Satan. Which stands for Sentinel Assignment, Telemetry, and Notification. That allows them to measure vibrations in the ground. A scientist calls a machine he built as Satan. Not sure why I find that amusing, but I do. They also have an avionics device to see any and all air traffic in the area.
Yeah, that is totally NASA, what I'm picturing, like monitors everywhere. And
and they upgrade after he gets in there. About the first week, they're adding more and more cameras. And so, I mean, literally, that place is like Camera City.
Locked down, everything's being videoed.
But the funny thing about it is as many cameras as they have, they can't seem to actually capture anything on camera.
So that's odd.
That's a little odd, yeah. One of the claims from the Sherman family is that a giant wolf came up to the fence where all the cattle were penned and started pulling a calf through the fence. Terry Sherman witnessed this and ran out with a .357 and shot the wolf 5 times, and it didn't even flinch. Then Terry ran back into the house and grabbed his rifle, a .30-06, and shot it 2 more times, and it finally dropped the calf and ran off. They followed the wolf to a section of the ranch where the river comes through. They followed the tracks through the mud as it climbed up the riverbank and then just disappeared.
Like into a portal?
Into nothing. I don't know.
Huh. I'm assuming they must not have hit it, or the gunshots were not affecting it.
No, he hit it.
Oh, he hit it?
Yeah. According to him, he basically stood there point blank and put 5 rounds into the wolf with the .357 Magnum.
Wow, and it was still able to run away. That's scary.
Yeah, then 2 more shots with the .30-06.
Right.
So, yeah.
Powerful. But maybe because the bullets didn't have that white ash.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe because they weren't silver bullets. Or I guess that's a werewolf.
I guess it must have been a Skinwalker.
Crazy.
So the rumor behind the Skinwalkers in the area is that the Utes and the Navajo had a skirmish. And it was at that point that the Navajo cursed the land. Dr. Travis Taylor took a tour of the ridgeline and had Eric Bard take out the tri-field meter to get a reading, and they were reading very high. They decided to climb to the top of the mesa to take readings at the top, and were getting even higher numbers, and the direction of the energy kept changing directions. The energy level is so high that it could be dangerous to humans if exposed to it for a long time.
Oh, that's scary.
So, folks, If you venture out into the mesa, don't forget your tinfoil hats. Nevada was a testing ground for nuclear missile testing.
Really? Because it's so desolate out there, they were just shooting missiles out there and letting them explode that were nuclear?
Yeah, basically atomic bombs.
Oh my God.
And then the fallout from the atomic bombs basically got up into the jet stream and then followed the jet stream up into Utah, close to where the Skinwalker Ranch is.
Wow.
So they say some of the highest concentrations were found just 30 miles north of the ranch. Could this be the cause of all the radiation in the area? Or is it just a part of the curse left by the Navajo people?
Probably a combination of both.
Inquiring minds want to know.
I want to know.
I want to know too.
They'll never tell us, though.
The fallout from radioactive exposure could have strange symptoms, cause hallucinations, hear things, see things, or do things that might seem abnormal.
So maybe that's why the one family witnessed so much more? The Shermans? Because
Well-
maybe it was hallucinations?
Could be. I mean, it's a mystery, but towards the end, we'll get into some more
Okay.
information about the owners of the property.
Put a pin in it, Tracy.
Put a pin in it. Put a pin in it.
We'll get to it. It's coming.
So my favorite quote comes to you from Dragon.
Does he have a dragon tattoo as well?
Probably does. Scientists by nature want to explain everything, but to us lay people, in lay people terms, crap goes down when we disturb the earth. Then followed that up with an ultimatum to Dr. Travis. If you want to be a part of this, then absolutely no digging. It's probably not too often you see a badass with an M16 afraid of dirt. The ranch superintendent was told when he first arrived at the ranch that there was no digging allowed. However, he did not listen. After digging, 3 days later, he woke up with a huge goose egg on the back of his head. As the day went on, it started getting larger, and finally his wife took him into the hospital. He stated in the documentary that he still, to this day, is having lingering issues.
Wow.
Doctors at the hospital could not determine what caused his head to swell like that. Doctors said that they had not ever seen anything like that before. The swelling was so bad that the skin detached from the skull.
Wow. Ah.
Yeah, that'd make me not want to dig your brain. Yeah. So the team calls in Brandon. Brandon is the owner of Skinwalker Ranch to get the go-ahead on digging after a lengthy team meeting and twist. There's a secret something in the case.
Plot twist.
There's a secret something in a case that they are not sharing. Why do people do investigations to unlock the truth, to not ever share the truth? Damn secret committees.
So it's a giant magnet?
It's a giant magnet. It's the world's most powerful magnet. So basically, when you would put the phone over the magnet, you would start to get a distortion on the screen, and which is, would be
Right. Kind of
pretty
like
common.
back in the day, if you had speakers that had magnets too close to your TV, you'd get a line or whatever.
Or blow out your TV.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if this thing's that powerful, but wow, I'm curious to see what they use it for.
Well, they use the magnet for testing their devices in comparison to the Mesa.
Oh.
Yeah, they're trying to replicate the effects of how the phones react at the Mesa.
Okay. I see what you're... Okay.
Yeah, because when they go out in the field and they've been out by the Mesa and they try to use their phones for something, they're getting that same interference of like a large magnetic pole, and it's causing interference. The phones to do weird things. It'll start dialing random people and
Flipping
things,
screens
flipping
and-
screens, and a lot of crazy stuff.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
I would be retreating.
I'd be retreating too. Now to figure out what is causing the magnetic pull in the environment, and is it safe to be around?
Nope.
The team calls out a couple of companies to do some ground analysis and surveilling of the top of the mesa and around the homesteads. As Dr. Travis and the superintendent were driving around in their side-by-side, when they got a call from the crew to meet on top of the mesa, where they discovered a small cave system. As they explored the cave, they were feeling the effects of vertigo. They discovered that inside the cave is a large concentration of VOCs, 3,700 parts per million.
What are VOCs?
That's a good question, Tracy. VOCs, volatile organic compounds, are compounds that are a high vapor pressure and low water soluble. Many VOCs are human-made chemicals that are produced in the manufacture of paints, pharmaceuticals, and refrigerants.
Okay.
And the effect of VOC exposure can cause a variety of health effects, including eye, nose, and throat irritation, headaches, and loss of consciousness, nausea, and damage to the liver, kidneys, or central nervous system.
So nothing to mess around with.
Nothing to mess around with.
Jeez.
Some VOCs are suspected or proven carcinogens. As they were down in the cave, their phone batteries got drained. The next day, they had a $35,000 drone. They were trying to get an aerial view of the ranch. They went to the second location of the ranch by Homestead 2, and something drained the battery on the drone and could not get it to work again.
So paranormal type draining or just in magnetic, or they
Well,
weren't sure?
They're not sure.
Okay.
They have no ideas of what caused it, whether it was paranormal or geological.
Just oddities.
Well, the whole
Yeah.
ranch is filled with oddities.
Right.
And that's kind of how the story goes. They did some other experiments with the trimeter in a coffee can to try to narrow in on the readings. And the time they pointed the device straight up in the sky, the reading would max out. So they went to multiple points of the ranch to try to figure out the arc of the signal. After finding the angle, they decided to launch a weather balloon set up with all the equipment needed to send it up. After 2 attempts, they got the balloon up and headed in the correct location to get a reading. And once the balloon reached 5,500 feet, all of the equipment failed. Interesting for sure.
It failed?
It failed. It basically got up to 5,500 feet, and every device that they had attached to the weather balloon stopped recording instantly.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's eerie.
very eerie. Is there an invisible UFO sitting up there just watching over the mesa? Maybe it's something with the Navajo curse. For sure, it seems it is going to remain a mystery.
Let's go out there and unlock it.
Yeah. One of the most notable things that has been common on the ranch is cattle mutilation. So they decided to bring in cattle so they can put sensors on the cows to monitor them.
So they're going to sacrifice them, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Poor cows.
As they started working on their next experiment, launching rockets with testing devices, they noticed that the cows were acting erratically and fighting with each other.
Really?
They were going up to launch their second rocket. As they were about to launch, they saw what looked like a UFO in the sky.
No way.
Yep. They watched it for a few minutes, then it just disappeared.
What?
Yep. After the tests with the rockets, they do confirm that the gamma radiation gets stronger higher in the sky above Skinwalker Ranch.
That's really strange.
Yep. Very strange. So now they're thinking that instead of this radiation coming off of the mesa, it's actually mysteriously coming straight out of the sky.
Okay.
So now their theories are that there's some kind of wormhole that is causing this. Very, very supernatural stuff here, huh?
Big time. Wormhole, huh?
Yeah. So after some more testing, Dr. Travis opened up a well in the back of the Homestead 2 property, and he got a hit with an extreme dose of gamma radiation, ending up having to go to the doctor, and he was told that he had radiation burns on his skin.
Wow. From opening a well?
From opening a well, yeah.
And was this a well that they used on the property at one point?
Well, at one point they did, yeah.
Wow.
They came up with a theory that there was a wormhole on the property to explain the gamma radiation. After finally getting permission from the owner of the ranch, they were finally allowed to drill for answers.
Why don't they understand the do not dig?
Do not dig. Well, to me, you almost have to dig to find answers, right?
Right.
So, and there's a lot of push and pull in this whole thing of digging. They hired a crew to come in and drill in increments so they could test the soil as it comes out of the ground. And they did this mostly because a dragon was worried everybody's health and safety.
Right.
So they decided to drill in increments as they would pull up, a foot or so of sample. Then they would test it for gamma radiation and
So they were trying to be safe.
be safe and still be able to dig. So,
Was Dragon the one that had the head injury, or was that the other guy?
that's the superintendent.
Okay.
Dragon is the security guard.
Oh, that's right. He's the one that's packing
He's
heat.
the badass with the M16.
He's packing heat, dude.
So they hired the crew to come in and drill in increments so they can test the soil as it comes out of the ground. After doing a ground sweep of the area around Homestead 2, they found an anomaly right underneath the road between 15 and 35 feet down in the ground, and it was over 1,000 feet long.
What?
Yeah. And get this, they thought it might be in the shape of a football.
Kind of like a UFO.
Like a UFO.
Whoa.
However,
I want answers.
so they decided to drill in two spots in the area. The first location, they got down 17 feet and they could not drill any further. Didn't appear to be anything down there abnormal. On their second drilling location, right in front of the Homestead 2 building, they got down about 25 feet and hit something hard. As they were drilling, the power line started to move and sway, almost like an earthquake.
What?
Yep, which only lasted maybe a few seconds.
Well, that's not odd at all.
No, yeah, it was kind of weird. Could have been camera hocus pocus, somebody shaking the camera.
Yeah.
But that's what they claim, that it was kind of like just the power lines and they were kind of acting like an earthquake was going on. And
All from drilling.
all from drilling and
And,
pissing off the skinwalkers, I guess.
well, would the drilling cause the vibration for the power line to move? Or
Could.
I guess I've never been around when anybody's been drilling.
Well, I
so
mean, it shouldn't to that degree, unless there was something underneath the ground
that was causing the vibration.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe like a lava tube or something like that.
Or another wormhole or
Something, yeah. So many unusual things that happen at the ranch. But on the other side of the coin, I found more information about the original owners, which is never mentioned in the documentary.
Really?
Yeah. Found an interview with Garth Meyer, the brother of Kenneth Meyer, who was the original owner of the ranch.
Okay.
Garth, who was 88 years old at the time of this guy's interview, was much younger than his brother. He had worked on the ranch for 3 summers as a teenager. Kenneth and Edith began with about 160 acres and accumulated the other parcels until they had formed the 480-acre ranch,
Wow.
which, according to the plots now, the ranch is actually 512 acres. So
they gained some.
they gained some land somewhere, but there's no
documentation
on how that happened. So living in quite primitive conditions at first, but improving things throughout the years. They had one child who died in infancy before they moved to the ranch. There were no other children. Garth was asked about the high concentration of strangeness that had taken place on the ranch. Garth Myers stated, "I can tell you right off that my brother died in April of 1987. My sister-in-law lived alone there until 1992. She died in March of 1994, and I can tell you unequivocally that up to 1992, there had never been and there never were any signs of UFO and similar activity."
So they never experienced anything.
They never experienced anything.
Whoa, what the hell?
And they lived there for almost 60 years. 58 years they lived there.
And when they were living there, was the bomb testing or the nuclear testing during that time frame, or was it after?
No, that was before that.
Before?
Time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
I mean, it might have been somewhere right around the beginning when they purchased the property, maybe, because they purchased the property in 1933.
Okay.
But I don't know on that when the bombing, when they did the atomic bombing testing.
That's interesting that they had nothing that happened.
They never experienced anything whatsoever.
Okay.
So Garth was then asked, I think they make a statement in the book, Hunt for Skinwalker, that things had been going on way back to the Indians and so on. Garth's response, see, that was the story Terry Sherman told, but it's not the right story. And then the interview responded, that's why I'm here to talk to you, because you are somebody who knows.
So the Shermans were the first ones to quote unquote have experiences.
Right. And they were only there for 2 years.
Okay.
So the next thing Garth said, the next thing I knew, I get this information that there are UFOs, and he was scared to death. And then this man in Las Vegas phoned in and was going to buy it. All I know is about a month or 6 weeks after he bought it, Bigelow called me on the phone and wondered why we hadn't told anybody about the UFOs.
Because there wasn't anything to tell?
Yeah, there wasn't anything to tell. I told him they didn't get there until Terry Sherman got there. And he said UFOs were coming there and you had dogs keeping people away. And I said all they had at most were 2 dogs. And the last time my sister-in-law lived there, 5 years with a 3-legged dog, and part of the time with no dog at all.
She was a brave woman.
She was brave.
You're really living out in, nowhere, especially with 500 acre or 480 acres.
Really was nothing out there too, so.
Right.
And there were no UFOs. And he said, oh, you're not telling me the truth. I said, if you don't believe it, I guess we don't need to talk anymore. And that was about it. So after about 6 months, I got another call from somebody, and they kind of told me the same story. The last caller was maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Don't know who. He said he wanted to have lunch with me. I said on one condition, that you show me the ranch, he said. And the caller said, I can't do it. I said, okay, I guess no lunch. That's the last I've heard.
Good on him.
Garth replied, my brother had 480 acres, if I remember. My brother bought that ranch in about 1933. Just a little house, an outdoor privy, and no water, electricity, or telephone. They had to haul water from Fort Dushan. They were essentially hermits. They only established relationships with 2 people in Ranlet. But other than that, they had no communication with their neighbors. Hard worker, honest, hard man to work for. I worked for him for a while. At this point, I told him about my scientific interest in UFOs, that I was a professor emeritus at Utah State University, and a bit more about my history. I told him that I don't believe in the UFOs, I investigate UFOs. I told him that I was working on the Utah UFO display, originally published in 1974. I said, I must have a chapter on the ranch, so that makes this interview very valuable to me, because I can say there is another side to it that isn't known.
Interesting. At
this point, Garth Myers, an MD in pediatric neurology, he spent much of his career at the LDS Primary Children's Hospital and worked for the State Department of Health. In his discussion with me, it later became clear that the most educated people with a scientific background and no real knowledge of the extent and evidence of the UFO's accounts. Garth simply rejects any idea that there might be some reality to the UFO phenomenon. I told him a few Utah Basin stories, but he said that's fine as long as you know that they're just stories. This being the case, in all honesty, we must consider the possibility that Kenneth and Edith Meyer were experiencing UFO visits on the ranch.
I don't think she would have stayed out there by herself for that long
I don't either. And
if there was
why would
weird
they-
activity.
Yeah, why would they hide the fact? I mean,
Right.
there was nothing happening. There was just nothing happening.
Right.
But knowing that their brother was such a skeptic, they decided not to share the information with him. Remember, however, that he was there himself as a teenager for 3 summers without seeing any UFOs. Yes, that was a long time ago. But the Skinwalker statement says the UFO activity goes back to even the time of the Native Americans.
And how do they know that, though? I mean, what documentation do they have? Because that family lived there for a good portion of that 100 years.
Yeah. Well, I did find a couple of news articles that they showed in the documentary.
Oh, okay.
One I was able to actually copy from a newspaper, and it was from 1911.
Okay.
And basically it talked about some weird rumblings in the grounds. And there was nothing in that article about cattle mutilation or UFO sightings or anything, but it was just some kind of weird vibration in the ground that the article was about.
And I'm assuming they figured it wasn't an earthquake.
Well, they just didn't know.
Okay.
You know, that's what the whole article was about.
Okay.
It's basically the unknowing of what's
was.
causing it.
It was the football-shaped object in the ground.
Could be.
The aliens buried their spaceship there, and they were trying to get it out.
Very well could be. Yeah, I don't know. So, in a telephone conversation on September 5th, 2009, sadly not recorded, I asked Garth if it were possible that his brother and sister-in-law didn't tell him about the UFO activity they were experiencing. This he vehemently denied. He said he was very close to his brother, despite the age difference, knowing every detail of their lives. First is the matter of locks inside and outside of the house. When the witness bought it, Garth said that it was not true. When he visited the ranch, it took 1 key to enter the home, and that if the key didn't work, a sharp kick to the door would let him in.
And he tested this theory.
No, he didn't test it. There was no profusion of locks. Terry Shepard, however, told me that there were small sliding locks on the cupboards inside. Second is the matter of no digging being allowed on the ranch. That rumor might have been fortified by Charles Wynn, who said he was digging something for Kenneth Meyer with his backhoe when Kenneth told him not to dig in a certain area. Garth says, that doesn't sound very sinister. If I owned a ranch, I might not want somebody with a backhoe to dig in certain places. So what? Garth said that the only stipulation in the real estate contract was that the previous owner retained the oil rights to the property. Since oil has become important in the basin, such a stipulation is common when a ranch is sold. So the real estate contract stipulated that if the new owners dug for oil, they must be notified. They must notify the previous owners. Does this sound like a meaningless clause crafted by elderly eccentrics? Further, as I noted in my interview with Garth, he denied that his brother had ever used large guard dogs. And what about the following statement in Skinwalker with the ominous implication? The previous owner that had bought the property in 1933, but now seemed glad to unload it. Does it sound ominous that an elderly brother and his 2 sisters might like to unload a ranch that they had no way of keeping up when Terry Shepard wanted to buy the ranch? It offered Garth and his sisters a chance to settle Kenneth and Edith's estate. The first unknown instance of anything happening between 1994 to 1996, when the Sherman family lived on the property. Another claim was that they never allowed cameras onto the ranch. One, I believe that Bigelow was interested in research and not making a documentary of scientists running around doing experiments. 2, Bigelow stated his investigation in 1996. Bigelow started his investigation in 1996 at the time when film was still the norm versus the digital era. that we live in now, which would increase the cost substantially. Bigelow's project was funded by the government, and the information was considered classified. Well, folks, that's my story. Hopefully you all enjoyed it.
That is crazy. So I never realized in hearing this before, Myers never had any issues, that it was just the other family, because every story I've heard about is all the crazy things that happened when what was the other family's name again? Shermans. I've heard all the stuff, weird stuff that happened with the Shermans. And I've seen one, maybe 2 seasons, I know for sure one, of Skinwalker Ranch, but I never realized the back history on that. So that was a great deep dive.
Yeah, I mean, so essentially the only article that, well, was even before the Myers came in was that one in 2011.
Okay.
All the other articles in the Desert News was from around 94 to 96 when the Shermans were living there. And it was mostly about the Shermans' cattle mutilation.
Well, and didn't they
UFO sightings?
Didn't they try to bring like llamas in too?
Yeah, at the new owners.
Yeah. Did anything happen with the llamas?
Yeah, the llamas that
Or alpacas or whatever they were?
Yeah, I think they're alpacas. Yeah, they brought 2 alpacas in, and they wanted to try to kind of put a different animal on the property to see if they would get any other results. And basically 2 days after they brought the alpacas in, they were in one of the holding pens, and something attacked one of the alpacas, and it was cut up pretty bad. It survived, but they had to mend it and stitch it and stuff. And this is where, with all the cameras that they have on that property,
They didn't catch anything.
they caught blurs of something jumping around. And to me, that could have been a coyote,
Right.
maybe a wolf if there's wolf in the area. I don't know, but it definitely didn't look like anything too crazy or big.
That's insane. I know there is a place that we can go I think it's adjacent to Skinwalker Ranch. They do UTV. Yeah, UTV rides up on the mesa and stuff like that.
Huh.
Maybe we should put that on
The bucket list. Very cool.
We'll have to make sure we have our cameras and stuff for that one.
Oh, yeah. We'll want all our equipment at that time so we can do some scientific investigation.
Maybe we should get those things that they wear, the radiology departments wear, that monitor the levels of radiation that you get to make sure we're not getting like...
Maybe. Well, they wear them too now.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. And that was what happened when he opened up that well and he got that radiation hit.
Yeah,
they were wearing those whatever meter.
It's like a little octagon type shape thing, or theirs might be different, but it's just something you wear on your clothes that.
Yeah, and the readings were really off the chart.
Oh my gosh,
dangerous levels.
Wasn't there something, I don't know if it was with the family or a different research team, but didn't somebody else open that well and then end up like standing there staring aimlessly out into nowhere?
I know that when that new owner first bought the property, he brought in a bunch of people, and can't remember if they opened it or if just something happened where...
He was near it or...
Yeah, because he was actually out a little ways up by... I think he was standing on the road. I remember seeing a car, and he was kind of just standing in back of the car, kind of like in a trance, kind of looking towards the mesa. But when they reenacted it or whatever, the guy was just standing there with his eyes closed. And they couldn't get him to come out of it at first.
Wow.
They were shaking him. And
I know I watched another show too. What's that one with Jack Osborne? Is it Portal to Hell?
Portal to Hell, yeah.
He has a friend that has an Airbnb out near Skinwalker Ranch, and they were doing some investigating there, but their sightings were more, I know there was some talk of skinwalkers, but I think that there was like a maintenance family, and the grandma was there cleaning, and she saw what she described as a gray alien, basically. So I guess there's other places around there that have, speculations of stuff going on too. So.
Well, yeah, it seems like that whole area, all the properties that are around the Skinwalker Ranch have the skinwalker phenomena, UFO phenomena, right down to ghost phenomena.
Wow.
So it's like a gamut of everything.
Everything?
Right there.
That's crazy. I know you've probably driven through there more often because you went to California a few times, but the time that we took that road trip out to Cali, I remember driving through, and it is so, I don't know if there's more off of that main road, but that first like 3/4 of Utah, it's beautiful, but it's just desolate.
It is very desolate state, not a lot to see.
No, I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, I was just awestruck driving through there. I had never seen anything like that before in my life. And
Yeah, when you start seeing those signs that say, fuel up now, because there ain't nothing for the next 200 miles,
Listen.
There ain't much out there.
yeah, well, I guess we can get into my story now. And I decided to kind of go along the same lines as you and do something a little bit different.
Ooh.
And I'm focusing on Minnesota cryptids.
I like it.
So it's going to be a little Minnesota heavy again, but
Minnesota.
Yeah, you betcha.
You sure do like your Minnesotan stories.
I do. I like learning a little bit more than, I didn't know a lot of this stuff, and I didn't know that we supposedly have some of the cryptids that we do.
Crazy. Well,
So
let's hear about it.
yeah. So we're going to dive into a little fun topic today. We're going to touch base on a few of the more popular cryptids in Minnesota. What is a cryptid, you may ask? Well, most people probably know, but some may not. A cryptid refers to a creature or animal that is rumored or claimed to exist for which there is very limited or no scientific evidence. These creatures are often the subject of folklore, legends, or reported sightings, but mainstream science has not confirmed their existence. So some well-known examples of cryptids include Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, Nessie, the Chupacabra, and the Mothman, which I'd love to do a story on the Mothman. And I'm actually shocked that he wasn't included in my research of Minnesota cryptids, because the Mothman, when that bridge collapsed in West Virginia, I can't remember the town that he was in now. Is it Plainsville? No.
It's like Winter Village or...
Oh my gosh, I can't remember it now.
Yeah,
But there was a bridge
something like
collapse.
that. I just watched a video on that.
Yeah,
too.
you did. But anyway, they said that when the 35W bridge collapsed in Minneapolis, that there was sightings of the Mothman before that happened. So we'll have to dig a little deeper. One of us will do a story on Mothman. And they have a big Mothman festival that I think would be fun to go to as well. But anyway, getting back.
In Virginia too?
It is, yeah, in that same town.
Yeah.
So cryptid research and investigations all usually fall within the realm of cryptozoology,
Holy.
which is the study of hidden or unknown animals. One intriguing cryptid that has captured the imaginations of many in Minnesota is known as the Minnesota Iceman. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
I hadn't either.
He must be an ice fisherman.
The legend of the Minnesota Iceman originated in the late 1960s when a peculiar exhibit appeared in various fairs and carnivals across the state. The exhibit showcased a mysterious frozen creature believed to be a previously undiscovered species or a rare creature from the wild. So the Minnesota Iceman was said to be a humanoid figure encased in a block of ice, standing about 6 feet tall. Witnesses described it as having a muscular build and covered in hair and possessing a distinctively ape-like face.
Did he fly around on a silver surfboard?
No. Its arms were long and robust, and his eyes appeared to be wide and expressive. So rumors quickly spread about the origin of the creature. Some believed it to be a missing link in human evolution, while others speculated that it was an undiscovered hominid species. It's Hominid. Hominid.
Hominid?
Yeah. Kind of like
Kinda
phenomenon. Great
I was
minds.
just going to do that.
So as
Hominid.
Bum, ba, da, 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 da.
Hominid.
Oh, there you go. As news of the exhibit spread, cryptozoologists and curious individuals flocked to see the mysterious creature for themselves. However, controversy surrounded the Minnesota Iceman. Skeptics claimed that it was merely a hoax, a cleverly crafted model or taxidermy creation designed to deceive the public, and they argued the creature's features appeared to be too perfect and lifelike to be genuine. One of the most compelling aspects of the Minnesota Iceman story was the involvement of Ivan T. Sanderson, a renowned cryptozoologist of the time. Sanderson investigated the exhibit and expressed his belief in its authenticity.
It was probably just some dude that jumped into Lake Minnetonka.
And he froze.
Yeah. In the
Or
middle of winter.
it said that he has like ape-like features, so that makes me think more like,
Well,
you know,
we have ape-like features.
well, you know, they said that, you know, the part of evolution or Bigfoot.
Bigfoot. Oh,
It made me think of Bigfoot too.
Huh. So
But
it's a big dude.
They didn't say he was hairy though. They just said
He
very
was
muscular.
very icy.
Yeah. So suggesting that it could be a genuine unknown creature.
I just think it was maybe the Silver Surfer from the Avengers or something. That's what I'm picturing.
It definitely could be. He plunged into Lake Minnetonka and he froze into an ice.
Ice dude flying around on a surfboard.
Does he make like the ice trail behind
Yeah.
him where he's like, is that what he skates on?
Maybe I'm confused with the two. Silver Surfer is actually different than the ice dude, right?
Because doesn't the ice dude like make the things
think
that
he does,
and the
yeah.
other one just flies, right?
So he's the ice dude.
All right. I would love to see this in action.
Me too.
So the Minnesota Iceman exhibit garnered significant attention and curiosity despite the debates and controversies. However, the exhibit mysteriously disappeared from the public eye. The creature seemed to just vanish, leaving behind a trail of speculation and unanswered questions.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. In later years, additional claims and sightings of the Minnesota Iceman emerged. Some individuals reported encountering a similar creature in the remote wilderness of Minnesota. Did he thaw out?
Okay, this picture has to go on the blog.
Did you find a good one?
Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you.
Okay. Must be a really good one. Oh my.
Do you see what's by his hand?
I do. And it's in his hand. It almost looks like he was laying down for a nice relaxing nap, but he needed to relieve himself a little bit first.
He's totally holding his junk.
Oh my, that is hilarious. I don't think it's too explicit, but that is funny. And they show hair there.
I mean, it's from a blog called Scientific American.
There we go. It's all for the means of science, people.
It's very scientific.
So there was claims and sightings of him. Individuals reported encountering a similar creature in the remote wilderness of Minnesota. These alleged sightings describe the creature resembling the original exhibit with hairy features, so he was hairy, I guess,
Yeah.
and a humanoid form. However, the lack of concrete evidence and the creature's elusiveness made it difficult to substantiate these claims.
Always do.
Of course. So to this day, The true nature of the Minnesota Iceman remains masked in mystery. Was it a genuine cryptid, a relic from an era gone by, or an elaborate hoax designed to captivate and perplex? The debate continues, and the legend of the Minnesota Iceman endures as one of the most intriguing cryptids in the state's folklore. So now we're going to move on to the Bunny Man.
Oh, my favorite one.
Do you know of him?
No.
I was convinced. Good job.
The Bunny Man.
Never heard of it. So the legend of the Minnesota Bunny Man is an urban legend that has gained attention in recent years. While there are variations to the story, the basic premise revolves around a mysterious creature with rabbit-like features that are said...
I'm still on the Iceman with the imagery of his junk. 'Cause, like, every eyewitness account here seems to picture the same thing.
Was that them of seeing him in the exhibit or in the wild?
A monkey with a junk.
Monkey with a junk. A monkey with some jewels. While there are variations of the story, the basic premise revolves around a mysterious creature with rabbit-like features that are said to roam the area around St. Paul.
Ooh.
So St. Paul's not remote. That's city.
That's city.
So according to the legend, the Bunny Man is described as a humanoid figure with long ears, sharp teeth, and rabbit-like limbs.
Yikes.
Some accounts claim it stands on its hind legs, while others describe it as having a hunched or animalistic posture. The creature is often said to possess supernatural abilities and is associated with mischievous or malicious behavior. So he's not a good guy, it doesn't sound like. Reports of sightings and encounters with the Bunny Man are scarce and largely circumstantial. Witnesses claim to have seen the creature lurking in wooded areas, parks, or abandoned buildings. It's said to appear predominantly at night, adding to the air of mystery surrounding its existence.
Sounds like everything else.
Right? Like many urban legends, the origin of the Bunny Man story is unclear, and it's possible that the legend was influenced by other similar urban legends or folklore, such as the Bunny Man Bridge legend in Virginia. Well, we got another Virginia. Well, this is Virginia, not West Virginia. Another one of those East Coast references. Over time, the story may have taken on its own unique characteristics specific to the Minnesota region. It's important to note that urban legends like the Bunny Man are often served as a form of entertainment and are not based on verifiable evidence. They are part of a rich tapestry of folklore and storytelling that captures people's imaginations and sparks curiosity about the unknown. But whether he's just simply a product of imagination, misinterpretation, or something else, the legend intrigues those who enjoy the mysterious creatures and the supernatural. Just like the other cryptids and urban legends, the Bunny Man adds a touch of intrigue and wonder to the folklore of Minnesota. I just picture like a sadistic looking Easter bunny.
Yeah, demonic Easter bunny.
Yeah, sharp teeth.
Yeah. Kind of like a slash between it and
A bunny.
and the Easter bunny.
With that red line painted up the face. Yikes. Let's stay out of St. Paul. The next one I'm going to cover is the Wendigo.
Oh, the Wendigo.
The Wendigo. Am I saying that right?
Yep.
Okay, Wendigo.
Wendigo.
Wendigo, there you go. The Wendigo is a legendary creature that has long been a part of Native American folklore, including the region of Minnesota. The Wendigo is believed to be a malevolent spirit or entity associated with winter, hunger, and cannibalism.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's often depicted as a tall, emaciated creature with glowing eyes, long limbs, and decaying flesh.
Eee, sounds freaky.
Yeah. According to the legends, the Wendigo was once a human being who resorted to cannibalism during a severe winter famine. By consuming the flesh of others, they became possessed by the Wendigo spirit, transforming it into a monstrous creature driven by insatiable appetite for human flesh. The Wendigo is said to crave more victims constantly, and it can never be satisfied. That kind of reminds me of that one episode of Smallville.
Supernatural?
No, Smallville, where the girl, she like can't... Craving, yeah. She was kind of chubby and she wanted to lose weight, and then she made that carrot mixture, but it had kryptonite in it. And then all of a sudden she like couldn't eat enough.
Yeah. Well, Supernatural had an episode of Wendigos too.
They did.
Which was out of, I think, Michigan, maybe.
Was it Michigan?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, even Charmed did Wendigos too.
Yeah, they had Wendigos on there too.
So, wow, they get around.
They get around.
With its cold winters and dense forests, Minnesota provides an eerie backdrop for the Wendigo legends. The creature is believed to dwell in the remote wooded areas, stalking its prey under the cover of darkness, and it's said to possess supernatural powers, including the ability to mimic human voices and lure unsuspecting individuals deeper into the wilderness. Well, good thing when we were at that graveyard in Duluth, the Greenwood Cemetery, good thing we didn't follow those noises we heard in the woods, because it could have been a Wendigo.
It could have been. You never know.
Encounters with the Wendigo are often described as terrifying and traumatic. Witnesses claim to have heard an eerie howl or whispers in the wind. They experienced an overwhelming sense of dread, or they glimpsed the creature lurking in the shadows. The Wendigo is believed to be a malevolent force causing madness, driving those who encounter it to commit unspeakable acts. It's important to note that the legend of the Wendigo is deeply rooted in Native American mythology, and it serves as a cautionary tale against the taboo of cannibalism. Don't eat your friends, people.
Yep, don't eat them.
The creature embodies the darkness that can consume individuals who succumb to the most extreme depths of hunger and desperation.
Don't eat the long pig.
I was just going to say that. Long pig is not your friend.
It'll turn you into a Wendigo. Your heart will go cold.
Your heart will go cold. Very cold. In contemporary times, the legend of the Wendigo continues to captivate the imaginations of those interested in the supernatural and the unknown. It has inspired numerous works of fiction, including literature, films, and video games. However, it's crucial to respect the cultural significance of the Wendigo legend and approach it with the sensitivity and understanding. Whether seen as a literal entity or a metaphorical representation of the human psyche, the Wendigo remains a chilling and enduring figure in the cryptid lore of Minnesota and beyond. So now, this again is another one that I'd never heard of.
Okay.
The Lake Pepin Monster.
Lake Pepin Monster.
So we have our own Nessie.
I think I've heard that.
Have you?
Yeah, but I don't know anything about it.
So the Lake Pepin Monster is also known as Peppy.
Peppy Le Pew.
Peppy Le Pew. And is a cryptid reported in Lake Pepin, a natural widening of the Mississippi River in Minnesota. So Lake Pepin spans approximately 21 miles in length and is known for its picturesque beauty and recreational activities. However, it's also home to stories and sightings of a mysterious creature lurking beneath its waters. Descriptions of the Lake Pepin monster vary, but common reports suggest a creature resembling a serpent or a large aquatic reptile. Witnesses have described it as having a long serpentine body, a humped back, and sometimes even multiple humps. It's often described as being dark in color, with some accounts of mentioning scales or rough skin. The creature is said to have a large head, possibly with horns or other prominent features, and some reports mention it having glowing or eerie eyes. So at least we have a little bit more of a definite description of Peppy versus the water devil from the Blue Lake, where he had an alligator head or possibly a walrus head.
So it says Lake Pepin is located in Goodhue and Wabasha counties.
Oh, so that's down south.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's right on the Looks like the border of Minnesota and North Dakota. Or maybe South Dakota.
Probably South Dakota.
Kind of looks like North Dakota, though, but...
You said Goodhue County? Isn't Goodhue County by Cannon Falls where we got married?
I thought so, but yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it shows it west of where we are.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to make a trip down there. Should just be a couple-hour drive. We did it the other night to go to Duluth, so
Yeah.
let's go find Peppy.
Lake Pepin from the Wisconsin side, which
So-
is another weird statement because...
Yeah, if you said it's on the Dakota side, maybe there's two. Well, it's not uncommon for Minnesota to have lakes that have the same name. When you have 10,000 of them, I suppose you have to
10,000 lakes,
you have
yeah.
to reuse the names sometimes.
I'm not sure. We'll have to figure
Well,
that
it
out.
says that basically it's a widening of the Mississippi River. So I wonder if it's not its like own lake, if it's just kind of like a area where the Mississippi River just goes really wide.
Yeah, I think that's the situation.
Okay. So sightings of the Lake Pepin monster date back several decades, with reports stemming from the late 1800s. Local folklore and Native American legends also speak of a creature inhabiting the lake. Some of them believe that the Lake Pepin monster could be a surviving prehistoric creature similar to other lake monsters reported around the world.
Okay, so looking at the map, I figured it out. So actually, it is on the border of Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Okay.
Kind of by the boot of Minnesota, so way down south.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to go check it out. Sounds like it's beautiful.
It looks nice. Looks pretty cool.
I like it. So witnesses claim to have observed the creature swimming or surfacing on the lake, sometimes causing disturbances in the water. There have been reports of boats being rocked by a large unidentified object underneath, scary, and some claim to have seen the creature's head or part of its body above the surface before it disappears back into the depths. The Lake Pepin monster has garnered attention from locals, tourists, and cryptozoologist enthusiasts alike. Various expeditions and investigations have been conducted in an attempt to capture evidence or gain a better understanding of the creature's existence. However, no definitive evidence has been found to confirm the existence of the Lake Pepin monster, and sightings remain anecdotal.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
So he's kind of like Nessie. He's shy, and the Blue Lake Monster.
And Bigfoot. And
Yeah, all of the cryptids.
all the cryptids. Chupacabra.
Yes. Theories about the Lake Pepin monster range from a creature being a surviving member of an unknown species to a misidentification of known animals or even elaborate hoaxes. Skeptics argue that the sightings could be attributed to floating logs, a large fish, or other natural phenomena. Regardless of the truth behind the Lake Pepin monster, the legend and sightings continue to intrigue locals and visitors to the area. The creature has become a part of the rich folklore and mystery surrounding Lake Pepin, adding an air of excitement and speculation to the natural beauty of the region. So next, we're going to do one on Bigfoot.
Ooh.
I it's kind of, I guess I did know that Bigfoot was associated with Minnesota because we went to that, wasn't it a Bigfoot festival in Reamer?
Yeah.
Which I never knew until we went to that festival, and there was some crazy people there.
I think there's claims pretty much
Everywhere.
of Bigfoot.
Well, we have a lot of woods and,
We do. And
and-
Canada is
and-
bordering us.
right. And Reamer is a really wooded area, lots of four-wheeler paths and stuff like that, or four-wheeler trails. But they even had like those people that were on the TV shows. I can't remember what their names were. Those Bigfoot hunters, they were there too. It was really kind of cool. We went there on a total whim, and it ended up being a fun day. So Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, is a legendary cryptid that is said to inhabit various regions across North America, including Minnesota. Reports of Bigfoot sightings have been circulating for decades, captivating the imaginations of believers and sparking curiosity among skeptics. In Minnesota, there have been numerous accounts of Bigfoot encounters, particularly in the state's more remote and wooded areas. Witnesses describe a large ape-like creature standing upright, ranging in height from 7 to 10 feet tall, covered in hair or fur that can be brown, black, or reddish-brown in color. The creature is often described as having a robust build, broad shoulders, and a conical head with no visible neck.
So basically, you just described me without the extra 4 feet of height.
You have a neck, though, baby.
Not really.
You do.
I mean, you add hair to it. You couldn't tell, man. It just kind of blend into my head.
If you start walking around with a hunchback and arms dragging, knuckles dragging on the ground, I'm going to have to get you some help. Witnesses claim to have seen Bigfoot roaming through the forest, crossing roads, or even near bodies of water. Some reports mention hearing distinct vocalizations attributed to Bigfoot communication, such as howls, screams, or wood knocks. Oh, that's a werewolf.
In London.
Other evidence includes footprints that are predominantly much longer and more human-like than those of any known animal in the area.
Breaking news.
Breaking
folks.
news.
Lake Pepin is an hour and 50 minutes away from here.
Ooh.
And it is right by Red Wing, Minnesota.
Okay.
So guess where Papa's going?
Oh, Red Wing, you want to go to the Smokin' Oak.
Smokin' Oak.
They are not paying for an advertisement here, but if they would like to, my husband is a huge fan and would go there at any opportunity.
My favorite place in the whole entire world. They have the best food ever.
So good. They have that sample platter that you get a little bit of everything. Oh my God. Now my mouth is watering.
Let's go to Lake Pepin right now.
I am so hungry. Thank you. Now I'm not going to be able to finish my story. I'm going to end up turning into a Wendigo because I'm going to have to eat you. Minnesota's dense forests, vast wilderness areas, and remote regions provide potential habitats for a creature like Bigfoot. The state's extensive network of lakes, rivers, and expansive woodland areas offer ample hiding places for such elusive beings. Additionally, the abundance of prey, such as deer and other wildlife, in these areas could potentially sustain a large creature. The search for evidence of Bigfoot in Minnesota has led to various expeditions, investigations, and the collection of eyewitness testimonies. Cryptozoologists, researchers, and enthusiasts have dedicated time and resources to uncovering the truth behind the reported sightings. However, concrete evidence such as clear photographs, DNA samples, or physical remains remain elusive, leaving the existence of Bigfoot in Minnesota an ongoing mystery. I mean, yeah, you wouldn't think they're immortal. Nobody says anything about them being immortal, so they would have to die at some point.
Yeah.
So what happens to their carcasses if they die?
Probably get eaten by other animals, I suppose.
Or are the other Bigfoot in the controversy of covering themselves up and they bury them somewhere or something?
I mean, there's a lot of different theories on Bigfoot that something to do with extraterrestrials, and that was kind of in one of those Bigfoot documentary shows.
I've also heard people talk about that they come through a portal into our world, and, and then they don't stay here. They go back through the portal. And
I've heard that too, and that's kind of the extraterrestrial side of things. But yeah, so there's a lot of theories. My theory is that they probably just don't exist.
You're always the skeptic.
I mean, something that big And yeah, eventually they would have to die, right? So somebody would find
You would
something.
think so.
And, as populous as Minnesota is, we're running out of woods. So
That is true.
and there's cameras everywhere in the
Trail
world.
cams and stuff now, too.
Everywhere in the
Yeah.
world. Why wouldn't anybody have definitive proof of a Bigfoot in this day and age?
Glitch in the matrix. They keep taking it out of our memory banks.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe they're sentinels. Maybe they're squiddies. They're
Ooh.
coming from the Matrix to redo something.
We'll just blame everything on the
Yeah,
matrix.
we'll blame it all on the Matrix.
If they actually fed people decent food, then maybe they wouldn't have to keep making all these glitches.
Like the smoking oak.
Oh, stop. So hungry. So skeptics argue that the sightings can be attributed to misidentifications, hoaxes, or the influence of popular culture. They believe that the witnesses may mistake ordinary animals such as bears or other wildlife for the elusive Bigfoot. Despite the numerous claims, they also point out the lack of substantial evidence, which it raises doubts about the creature's existence. On the other hand, believers argue that the consistency and sheer number of eyewitness accounts cannot be dismissed. They believe that Bigfoot is a highly intelligent creature that deliberately avoids human contact and manages to elude capture and scientific study. Whether Bigfoot truly roams the forests of Minnesota or if the sightings are a product of myth, misinterpretation, or a combination of both, the allure of this cryptid continues to capture the fascination of both locals and enthusiasts worldwide. The search for answers and the quest to unravel the mystery of Bigfoot in Minnesota remains ongoing endeavors, fueling the imagination and curiosity of those drawn to the realm of the unknown. So now we're going on to another lake monster.
Yay!
So we're better than Nessie. We have 2 lake monsters, supposedly. This one is in the Lake of the Woods, which is way north, right?
Way north, yeah.
Like Boundary Waters territory.
Mm-hmm.
The lake monster of the Lake of the Woods, also known as Lake Worthy, is a legendary creature said to inhabit the waters of Lake of the Woods, located on the border between Minnesota and Ontario, Canada. The vast lake covers approximately 1,680 square miles and contains over 14,000 islands, providing an ideal environment for a mysterious creature to hide. 14,000 islands?
Yeah, there's a lot up there.
Wow. I wrote this story and that still blows my mind.
That's where a ton of people go canoeing up there.
Right.
In the Boundary Waters. And
I've never been up there, but I didn't realize that there was that many islands on that lake.
yeah.
So descriptions of the lake monster vary, but witnesses commonly report a large serpent-like creature with a long snake-like body and a series of humps or coils protruding from the water. It's often described as having a dark, scaly skin and a serpent head with glowing eyes. So he's probably sounds just like the other lake monsters we've all talked about. Some witnesses claim to have seen a creature with a flipper-like limbs or flippers at the side of its body, while others report a lack of visible limbs. Sightings of the lake monster date back many years with reports from locals and visitors. Witnesses often describe seeing the creature swimming or gliding through the water, occasionally surfacing to reveal its humps or coils before disappearing beneath the surface again. The creature is often associated with large splashes or disturbances in the water, leading some to believe that it may have a powerful tail or the ability to create strong currents. Legends and stories about the lake monster have been passed down through generations, adding to the creature's mystique and intrigue. Some accounts suggest that the lake monster is a solitary creature, while others propose the existence of a small population of them inhabiting the lake. So maybe the lake monster had little lake babies?
Maybe.
Who's the lake daddy?
I don't know.
Or the lake mama?
Maybe it's Nessie. Or is Nessie
Maybe what's his face that was swinging the one creature, the blue lake monster over his head,
there
was
you go.
shooting him
Could
from
be.
one lake to the other, and
Yeah.
things happened, and hot fudge sundaes were made. And do you remember that off KDWB?
No.
They, instead of saying sex, they always said making hot fudge sundaes. While the majority of the encounters with the lake monster are based on eyewitness testimonies, there have been occasional pieces of evidence to put forward. These include alleged photographs, videos, or even sonar readings showing large unidentified objects moving beneath the water's surface. However, the authenticity and reliability of such evidence are often disputed, leaving the existence of the lake monster unconfirmed. As with many cryptid legends, skeptics offer alternative explanations for the reported sightings. They suggest that misidentifications, floating debris, or even naturally occurring phenomena may be... I knew that was coming. May be responsible for the alleged encounters. In some cases, unusual wave patterns known as seeches can occur on the Lake of the Woods, potentially creating the appearance of a creature moving through the water. Regardless of skepticism, the tales of the lake monster of the Lake of the Woods continues to captivate the imaginations of locals and visitors alike. The mystery surrounding the creature and the allure of the unknown adds to the fascination of exploring the depths of this vast and remote lake. As long as reports of sightings persist, the legend of the lake monster will endure, keeping the intrigue alive and inviting further exploration into the uncharted waters of the Lake of the Woods. Total Conundrum will be investigating one of these lake monsters. So we'll have to add one of these to our bucket list for Total Conundrum to go and check out. I'm thinking the one that's down south would probably be easier for us to adventure to. What do you think?
Yeah.
I'm excited. So got two more. The next one's more of a phenomena versus a cryptid. This is the St. Paul Fireball. I'd never heard of this one either. The St. Paul Fireball is a phenomenon associated with sightings of a large glowing orbs or fireballs in the sky over St. Paul, Minnesota. Witnesses have reported observing these fireballs moving slightly through the air, glowing in vibrant colors such as red, orange, or yellow. The sightings have intrigued both residents and paranormal enthusiasts, sparking speculation and curiosity about their origin and nature.
Sparking.
I've never heard of this, so
I've never heard of it either.
Kind of intrigued. The fireballs are often described as much larger than irregular shooting stars or meteors and exhibit a distinct fiery glow. Witnesses have reported seeing them in various locations around St. Paul, including parks, neighborhoods, and even above bodies of water. Some accounts describe the fireballs as appearing for brief moments before disappearing, while others claim they have observed them hovering or moving at a steady pace. They're not in one specific area. They're kind of all over the place, so it's kind of intriguing.
Yeah, I found a picture, and it kind of looks like a shooting star. It's got like a tail.
Kind of like a comet.
But it's very bluish in color.
That one's bluish, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting. So the origin of the St. Paul fireball sightings remains a subject of debate. One theory suggests that it could be related to atmospheric phenomena such as ball lighting. Ball lighting is a rare and poorly understood phenomena characterized by glowing spherical objects that appear during thunderstorms. These objects are known to move erratically and can persist for several seconds before vanishing, which I'd never heard of that before either. Another theory is that fireballs may have extraterrestrial origins. Some speculate that these sightings could be attributed to unidentified flying objects or UFOs or other atmospheric anomalies caused by alien spacecraft. However, it's important to note that there's no concrete evidence that supports these claims, and alternative explanations could be also or should also be considered. All these skeptics out there, just let it all be real. Skeptics argue that many of the reported fireball sightings could be attributed to the misidentifications or natural phenomena. Meteor showers, for example, can produce a spectacular fireball displays when fragments of space debris enters Earth's atmosphere and burns up. Additionally, atmospheric conditions such as reflection of city lights or the presence of high-altitude aircrafts can create optical illusions and contribute to the perception of the unusual phenomena in the sky. The St. Paul fireball phenomenon, it continues to intrigue both believers and skeptics alike. While some interpret these sightings as evidence of paranormal or extraterrestrial activity, others approach them with more of a skeptical mindset, seeking rational or scientific explanations. Regardless of the case, the St. Paul fireball remains an enigmatic and captivating subject for those interested in the mysteries of the sky. And lastly, we have the Minnesota Dogman. I hadn't heard of this one either. So the Minnesota Dogman is a cryptid that has been reported in various regions of Minnesota, particularly in the northern parts of the state. Similar to the other Dogman legends found in different parts of the United States, the Minnesota Dogman is described as a creature with a combination of human and canine features. Eyewitness accounts of the Minnesota Dogman describe it as a large, bipedal creature standing between 6 and 7 feet tall. It possesses a muscular build and is covered in fur and has the head of a wolf or a dog. Its eyes are often reported to be glowing or reflecting light, adding to the eerie and imitating nature of the creature. Witnesses claim that it emits low growls or howls resembling a wolf. Sightings of the Minnesota Dogman occur primarily in rural areas, particularly forests, wooded areas, and near bodies of water, and it's said to be an elusive and stealthy creature, often spotted at night or during twilight hours. Witnesses often report feeling a sense of fear or unease when encountering the Dogman, as its appearance is often associated with the supernatural or otherworldly. Sorry, if I seen this thing while I was driving down the road or walking in the woods, I'd be out.
Out. This sounds like another werewolf story.
Yeah. She gone.
She gone.
The origins and true nature of the Minnesota Dogman remains a subject of speculation and folklore. Some theories suggest that it could be a previously undiscovered species or an ancient creature that survived in remote areas. Others propose that it may be a product of myth and urban legend fueled by exaggeration and hoax.
Ding, 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 ding.
Have to state them both. The legend of the Dogman has been part of the Native American folklore again, and it has been passed down through the generations. These stories often warn of the creature's potential danger and its association with spiritual or supernatural elements. Over time, these tales have blended with modern accounts and sightings, further adding to the mystique and the intrigue surrounding the Minnesota Dogman. As with many cryptid sightings, skepticism is predominant regarding the Minnesota Dogman. Skeptics argue that the sightings could be misidentification of known animals, such as large wolves or bears standing on their hind legs. Others believe that eyewitness accounts are simply a result of hoaxes or a manifestation of the power of suggestion. Whether the Minnesota Dogman is a real creature or a product of imagination, it continues to capture the interest of cryptozoologists, enthusiasts, and those fascinated by the unknown. The legend adds to the rich mystery of the creature and the unexplained phenomena in various regions of the world.
Rock on.
And that's it for my Minnesota cryptids.
Good job.
I had never, I've heard of a few of them, but
I've
not.
heard of a few of them. I've heard of the Dogman. I've just never heard of the Minnesota Dogman.
Right. So I think some of them like kind of intermix, kind of like Bigfoot. They're
Definitely.
yeah. I've heard of a goat man.
Goat man, yeah.
There's that. I think he usually resides around a bridge,
He hangs out with Bunny Man.
Bunny Man. Yeah, you said that the Bunny Man was actually
In the Virginia story, that it was basically supposedly a guy dressed up in a buddy costume.
Wielding a hatchet or something.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Freaks. But yeah, so that's it. Do we have any news or...
I don't think so, but we do have the note that Stitcher is done on August 29th.
The 29th?
Yep. So
Coming up.
Yep. If you haven't found your next podcast platform, do that now.
Definitely. And other than that, I think we'll call it a wrap.
It's a wrap, folks.
We love you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Smell you later. Thanks for hanging out with us here at Total Conundrum. Please make sure to check out our website and blog at TotalConundrum.com for news, upcoming events, merch, bloopers, and additional hysteria. You never know what will pop up, so be sure to follow along. If you want to show your support for Total Conundrum and gain access to all of our bonus content, please visit our Patreon page. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The links are available in our show notes. If you have any questions, comments, recommendations, or stories to share, please email us at contact@TotalConundrum.com. Episodes are available on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. If you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. We appreciate the love. Keep on creeping on, mother cluckers.